Chris Campbell, 81? When did he win the World Championships? Skopje, Yugoslavia. I think it was 1981. But I don't know exactly when I recruited him. But I'll tell you what, it was early on in my career. I was actually assistant coach, and so I had a boss, Gary Kurtelmeyer.
Yeah.
And he said that my AD wanted to see me. My AD was his boss, and his name is Bump Elliott. And so I went up to their office, and it was kind of towards the end of the year. So I'm training the guys hard because I'm in charge of the wrestlers in the wrestling room, and my athletic director Bump Elliott says, "Hey, I'd like you to do me a favor." And I said, "Sure, what do you say to your AD?" And I expected, it's going to be an easy favor, but he goes, "I want you to fly to Westfield, New Jersey." And I said, "Okay." He goes, "What do you want?" I want you to speak at this spring banquet." He goes, "The AD's a friend of mine, and he called me, and I'm going to do him a favor." And I said, "Okay." And he goes, I go, "When is it?" He goes, "Well, it's next Thursday, and it's at that night." And I said, "Well, I'm going to have to miss practice. I run practice. I'm the coach, that run practices." And he goes, and I said, I can't go." He goes, "You're going to go." He goes, "He's a friend of mine. I'm your boss. You're going." That was about the first time we ever kind of conflicted, and they've been there for about a year and a half or so. But hey, he's the boss. So I went to Westfield, New Jersey, and I went with a bad attitude. I'm missing practice, and I'm the guy that's at running practice, And so got out there. I didn't really know where it was. I just knew that I was going to they had an all-sports banquet in the spring, and I went there, and I was the speaker, and I saw this little guy get up and give an invocation. Wasn't a little guy, but he was a little strong-looking guy, and I didn't know who he was. But so then I gave my speech, and they had the whole evening, and I'm still, kind of ornery, but I kind of settled in because I'm there. And then afterwards, this kid walked up to me that gave me the invocation, and he says, "I really liked your speech." He says, "I'd be interested in Iowa." I said, "Well, you wrestled here then, right?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm wrestling." He goes, I go, "How'd you do?" He goes, "I won the state championship." I says, what was your record?" He goes, 30-0. I said, "How'd you do the other years?" And he goes, "I just went out my senior year." I said, "Just went out your senior?" He goes, "Well, I maybe went out earlier, like in 9th grade or 10th grade. Didn't really like it, so I didn't come back out to my senior year." So I went home and I told the story, and I actually talked to some people, and they said he was going to go to some other smaller college, and so I called the guy up at whichever college it was, and I said, "Hey, I had this guy come up, he's interested in me." I said, "I don't want to, tamper or anything with you, but, what do you think?" He goes, "Gable, coach," he goes, "I'm a fan of yours too." And he says, "I'd love to have Chris, but if you want him, I won't hold it to him. You can have him or something." I said, "Well, I don't know." So I didn't really think much about it. So the Summer Nationals were at Iowa City that summer. So this, we're talking about 2 months later, and I really hadn't done anything on him. And he comes to the Summer Nationals, and he gets second in the Nationals. He loses to Mark Johnson.
Uh-huh.
Which ironically, he ended up wrestling Mark Johnson in the national finals. And ironically, Mark Johnson came in and was a coach for me too. And, we're great friends. But the thing is, it's like all of a sudden when he came here and got second, I said, "Whoa, maybe I'll offer that guy. So I better go talk to him." So I went and talked to him. And I think we offered him a small scholarship, like books. And he wanted to come. So he came. But it didn't take long to change that scholarship. The first year, I think he was ranked like second or third or something going into the Nationals. Didn't end up placing the first year, but the second year he got second to Lieberman, and he was winning the whole match, and he just didn't know how to finish the match yet. And then next year he won the Nationals, and the next year he won the Nationals. Then he ends up being a world champion. Then he comes back, goes and gets a law degree, and he comes back, and he gets 2 medals one in the Worlds and the Olympics about 9 years later. I mean, wow. This guy was unbelievable. And the thing about him is that he really didn't have any flaws. He was a really talented kid. And when he came here, and he only had 1 year of wrestling, so he really was learning wrestling for the first time really in depth. And so he didn't make any mistakes. And so that's the story of Chris Campbell, you know. And you know, I got a little lucky there.
And he was what, 36, 38 when he wrestled in the Olympics?
I think he was 37 in the Worlds and 38 in the Olympics. And I think he got second in the world. He got second in the World Championships when he was 37, and he got a bronze medal at 38 years old.
Wow. God bless.
After he won the Worlds back in '81 in Skopje, Yugoslavia.
He was supposed to make the Olympic team the year that there was a boycott, right?
Oh, he made the team,
So,
I think.
But he didn't get to wrestle, right? Because there was
Right,
a
in
boycott.
1980?
Yep.
Yeah, he made that Olympic team too, yeah. There you go.
Chris Campbell, one of the most talented guys you've coached?
I'd put him probably at the high level just because of no wrestling, and then all of a sudden where he went. So, you know, when people ask me my most talent, I say Chris Campbell. Yeah.
Chris Campbell, perfect.